Ryan was asked to play music at the restaurant that I worked at.
And I got on the mic, I started playing a song. I was like, oh, this song makes me want to drink some wine and go dancing. Jordana, do you want to go dancing?
And I was like, yeah, let's go.
I'm Eric Newton, and this is Together, the podcast where we explore the truth about human relationships. As a divorce lawyer, I saw thousands of couples break up firsthand. These days, I'm not so interested in breaking couples up, nor in keeping them together. I'm interested in what our relationships can teach us about ourselves and the world that we live in. So on this show, we have honest conversations with real people about real relationships. I've been working on a book lately. It's mostly about conflict and how that's access to a deeper understanding of ourselves and one another. But there's a section in the book in which I talk about relationship tools that spring from my thinking about conflict. And one of those tools has been particularly difficult for me to write about. Not because it's not useful, but because it's hard to make it sound like anything other than, well, a trite or obvious exercise. And that is the tool of fun. Now, one thing that I have seen over and over with successful couples is that they're able to distill fun and playfulness out of the thin air of their relationship when they need it. Successful couples seem to have an instinct about where to find those moments of giggly surrender that are so effective at helping us all just drop the drama and reconnect. And this skill is anything but obvious. It gets discounted as frivolous in our culture far too often. So many of us these days are caught up in the striving and the agendas of our lives that we really don't have any access to simply enjoying. But why should those moments be limited to vacations or special occasions? Without enjoyment, not only is there no point really, but, we don't last very long. When things are awful, we all just move on. And the funny thing about this skill of finding joy in otherwise unremarkable moments is that it is absolutely learnable. It's not a matter of luck. It's a matter of practice. It's a matter of knowing the distinction is even there in the first place and then bringing it into conscious intent. All of which brings us to our guests this week. Ryan and Jordana have been together for 12 and a half years, living in Brooklyn, and they are two of the most talented and hardworking people I have ever met in the area of simple fun. They're both musicians. In fact, it's their music that you're listening to right now, and I'll play more of their music throughout the episode. And the music just comes playfully pouring out of them constantly, as you'll hear. But it's not that these two are just lucky, and it's not that they're without challenges. In fact, this very skill of playfulness can be annoying to each of them alternatively, as you'll hear. So they have had to work very hard on creating their equilibrium between work and play. And what doing so makes possible is not just enjoyment, but its longevity. Now, there's a lot to listen for in this episode, but I suggest you keep at least one ear open to how these two cultivate the balance that they enjoy. Now, as an aside, I promise you I didn't smoke anything before recording this episode with them, but these guys really make me sound like I did. Now, we're starting the episode about halfway through the interview, and if you want to hear the first half, wherein we tell the story about how they found their crazy little cat Chungle in Mexico, that's available along with a few other giggly moments for our subscribers on Patreon, and you can find links to that on our website. Now, we're joining the story just as Jordana is sharing some of her first impressions about Ryan. So here we go.
No, Ryan was super goofy. He did some right he just did some we kept seeing each other, and then it was summer, and then I remember coming out of a bar, there's a bar in Brooklyn called Moe's that we used to all hang out. It was like the spot, it was like the Cheers of Fort Greene. But this place was kind of pivotal in many people's lives in Fort Greene and Brooklyn. And he and I kind of saw each other one night. We passed each other, and it was sweaty and hot. Everyone was, because it was summer, not just because it was
the two of you.
Yeah, right. Maybe it was both. And we were like, hey, we were passing each other, yeah. Hella close, hey.
And I'd be I'm like, it was good to see you. Were you doing that on purpose? Were you trying to be seductive?
He was totally intense. He was totally intense.
I'd be really
And then he was like, hello, princess, like doing accents. And I was like, this guy's weird.
Which you like.
Yeah, I thought he was really weird and just different. And there's something about
But
him.
no, the funny story is that when I showed up at the restaurant, it was a blizzard in New York. And I didn't know how to dress for winter.
Oh, so yeah.
So I had like my jeans on, my boots on, and maybe some layers.
Yeah.
And I had really long hair. I wore like
choker.
multiple chokers around my neck.
Oh, yeah.
Like leather.
Have you seen this look?
They're not warm.
Have you seen this look?
I've not seen the choker look
had,
on
like-
Ryan. No.
We can pull out a
long-
picture.
I had long hair, really long
But
hair.
he had it in a ponytail.
Had a ponytail and a
And a
serape.
sarape. You know what a sarape
Texas.
is? Yeah, he's like,
Yeah,
So-
Yeah. So
anyway, this all happens, and then one night, Ryan was asked to play music at the restaurant that I worked at, this place in Fort Greene, and it's summer, and I look over, and Ryan's standing in the street, and it was like the sun was setting. He was like, hey, and I was like, hey. He's like, you working tonight? I was like, yeah. I was like, cool. And then we go through the whole night. I'm working, and this girl that worked there was like, God, that guy is so cute. He's so hot. I want to like ask him out. And she was talking about Ryan the whole night. And I was like, whatever, like just like keeping it cool. But she was really like obsessed. And also, oh God, yeah, it was summer, so it was really hot. And Ryan was outside playing piano. And what was it? That piano? It was like the Casio or something.
No, it was like an Alesis from like 91. It was like hella cheesy. It was like a brick. It was like you couldn't get a decent piano. Like I couldn't get a decent road sound out of this thing. So it turned into kind of a weird comedy show where I kind of made fun of myself because I couldn't get an authentic sound out of this thing.
You're like, I can feel it.
And that was, I was doing like, Phil Collins stuff. And then I was just
And
like.
I'm like running around. I'm like, what is this dude?
But it was cool. It was like this. It was the 150th anniversary of the writing of Leaves of Grass.
Wow.
Walt Whitman.
Yeah.
And he lived in that neighborhood, Fort Greene.
Oh.
So there was all these different happenings going on at local businesses.
Oh.
So there's like this cool connection to him and the spirit of like his writing or whatever, just art making whatever. But then this whole cheesy factor of the piano, and she's working, and I've been crushing, and da 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 da. So I was like,
You've been crushing. You've been crushing.
And I got on the mic in front of the restaurant, and she's working, and I started playing a song. I was like, oh, this song makes me want to drink some wine and go dancing. Jordana, do you want to go dancing?
And I was like,
That's so good.
In the
Because
middle
you're
of the
playing
set.
it cool. The other girl's crushing on him,
yeah.
and you ask her out in the middle of the set.
he did. I was
Okay.
like, yeah, let's go. Let's
But
do it.
then you spilled water on the table.
I was a mess that night. I was a terrible.
From the moment that he asked
I was
you out,
a terrible
forward?
server. I just like didn't know what to do with myself.
But after that moment, you mean?
Yes.
That made you
and
just
then
slightly
also
nervous.
in general, I'm a
But
terrible
you're the
server.
cool girl. What was that about?
I flapped you.
What do you mean?
I flapped you a little.
I mean, I was just like, that's bold. I don't know. I feel like, I guess growing up in San Francisco, and this is no disrespect to the guys in the Bay, but my experience was like a lot of like people keep it like culturally when I grew up there. It was like, oh, what's up? Like real chill. Like we're just gonna pretend like we don't care.
Yeah, we're gonna just.
Yeah, but like I hella like her, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Like there was just kind of a sense of like extreme boldness and
The
like
cheesiest
you
line,
know what
though-
you want. Like he's like, I know what I want.
The cheesiest line though is I said, I
know?
like your arms. Like,
Anyway.
later
What, on
which was
the
so
mic?
weird.
That was way later.
That was way late. No, it was the same night.
Yeah.
I was walking.
He
back
said
and
some
forth.
weird shit to me, like I like your arm. I was like, cool.
I like your.
I like face.
I like your right cheek.
I can't even get it out.
I like your right. Your right nostril.
I like your neck skin.
I know. I like your.
I like tooth.
I love your left eyelash.
Just one.
I want
Just
just
one.
one of them. Everything else is kind of questionable.
So he asked me out. So then
Yeah.
we basically go, and our friends who live in Brooklyn, like it's kind of a funny story because we go to this place in Williamsburg called Galapagos.
Yeah.
And my friend Nassim was in an Afrobeat band, and we went to go see that show. And we were going up on the car ride home. I made him play a game.
On the car ride, the car ride to the venue
of your first date.
Our first unofficial date.
Yes.
Because he basically was like, asked me out in front of the restaurant. We're in a cab. We're going to Williamsburg to Galapagos. And I was like...
And the other girls.
And the other girls in the car with us.
That's good, because that was the other story. I wanted to follow up on.
I forgot.
So she's in the back seat.
That's right.
She's in the back seat. So she's crushing on me. I don't know she's crushing on me.
But this is after you've asked her out.
Yeah.
So the other girl must know
she
at this point.
She knew.
She was there in the restaurant. Of course she knew.
And I was feeling bad, to be honest, because like I didn't want her... I don't know. I felt bad. Like it was, I knew that we liked each other.
Yeah.
It was done. But I felt bad because she was, so I was playing it. I mean,
what are you going to say to her anyway?
Yeah.
It's not like you did anything wrong.
I mean, it's
okay.
Whatever. So it is what it is.
So you're in the car, the other girl's in the back seat.
So I say, let's play a game. And it's a game that I play with like some of the kids that are like the youth that I work with, because I'm play this game where you have to start singing a song, and then whoever's playing the game has to pick one word from that song, like any word, and just start a new song. Let's play.
Wow. You said that to him?
Yeah.
Now, most men would melt, not in a good way. They would melt down. There'd be no way they could do it.
That's stupid, dude.
So I was like, I don't even remember, but we started with some like Lauryn Hill, and then you like
but you
did
knew he
D'Angelo.
Could play that. You knew he could play.
Yeah, I don't even remember what songs.
Well, give us an example of how does this game go.
Okay, why don't you, Eric? Why don't you start a song, and then I'll take it from there.
All right,
like any song, you can sing any song.
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
Oh.
I went down, 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 and the
fall to pieces each time I see you again. You have to save me, Ryan. Fall to pieces. Bow, 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 bow. Wait, what is the line? That's the other thing, is that I'm terrible with lyrics. How could I be just your friend? You ask me to...
It can take a while.
So
you're leaving her hanging.
So basically, Eric, I thought of 4 songs while I was singing that one song that I would sing to interrupt myself.
Yeah, you caught me in within several seconds.
Okay, what about your friends? I mean, hello. I fall to pieces. I'm falling down.
What's the friends one? What
How
word?
could I be just your friend?
Right.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Anyway, so that night...
Come on, you gotta play. This is not done.
Okay, you start a
really
song. You start a song. You start a song.
You should let me love you. Let me be the one to give you everything you hope and need. Baby, good love and protection. Put you in selection. Supposed to me. Baby, you
love,
should
love, love.
See, love is usually a safe one. Love is, especially if you're doing R&B songs back and forth. So anyway, it went on like that for a good 25
But we were
minutes.
in the flow. Like,
yeah, because when you can get into it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, he's really good at this game. And we were in the flow, and then we went out, and we get in front of the club, and we see Ryan's friend from South Texas that he grew up with, who's Brad's best friend.
My friend Brad from San Francisco.
Yeah, Brad.
Yeah, okay.
So
My brother.
Your brother,
yes.
yeah.
So
that's probably the more important way. Forget about your familial
you
relationship.
mean my friend? He's
my brother.
You mean my friend? Oh yeah, that's my friend.
Okay, so he's Brad's buddy.
So Brad's buddy, George, who grew up with Ryan, like they grew up together, they were whatever. He was always at their house, was out front of the club, and he was like, Jordana, Ryan, I've been wanting to introduce you guys. And so that was crazy.
That is really great.
That was creepy for me because I'd known these guys since I was
It was a little
14.
bit like what?
And it was Daniel and Jorge, and like I was like, it's like, okay, so there's 2 Mexican guys living in Brooklyn from South Texas who grew up with my brother,
The Jewish redhead.
that know her, and I'm like, I was like,
that is pretty weird.
And then I looked at her, I was like, Who are you?
That was it.
And they had been planning to introduce you to.
Yes.
They had
never gotten around to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jorge specifically was like, "Oh, I think that would be a good connect." Yeah. Anyway,
So that's how it happened.
that's how. It happened.
That was the gelling moment, huh? That was.
Then it was on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Because I mean, if he could play that game and you guys were in the flow.
Yeah.
And then I danced. I danced pretty good, didn't I? I danced with
Ryan wants me to tell him that he was a good dancer. That was his way of communicating
you. That was a passive aggressive.
Like, right?
Right. Validation.
No, we're
Wagging my tail.
Yes.
Yeah, you're
actually.
like at this moment, your tail. So.
You're like
I was on her jock though. I was like, I'm going
to be on you.
I'm going to be on you for the rest of this evening. I hope you understand this.
well, okay, so let me back up a little bit in the story.
Yeah.
He was like studly but a dork.
Yes.
And how did
I just said that very like.
how did the studly but the dork get through?
What do you mean how?
I mean, you kept in the story because it was funny referencing how dorky he was, but you totally gave him a chance. So
he wasn't dork. I mean, he was just really. He was my kind of dork.
Yeah.
Because I'm a goof, like we've discovered earlier.
Yeah, you're a goof.
That I'm a goof.
You're not a dork.
Yeah, I think actually.
So
I think we'll probably discover.
I just felt like I could be myself, you know.
Well, when
I could just be free. I was gonna be free, and he's not like intimidated by it, because that was something that I would just be like, I'm free, and in my past relationships, it was a little bit like.
Really?
You're just too much.
Yeah, you're like too much.
Yeah.
You're too much.
Can you just tone it down a little bit, please?
Well, not always, but you know, it was definitely like.
I'm just joking.
Well, Ryan, when you were being real sly, like real direct and deep low voice and southern sexy man, was that?
That's right. The first message. I'm sorry, I can't get it out. Keep going. I'm going to interrupt you. I'm terrible.
Was that? What's the word for it? Were you being sincere in that, or were you being self? Boy, I can't remember words today. Were you making fun of yourself a little bit?
No, I wasn't being self-deprecating. I was totally genuine. I think that at the time in my life, I was really looking to have like a real connection with somebody.
Yeah.
And who like lived in the same city as me, and you know, like some basic things.
Yeah.
That was like funny and beautiful and smart and just like, and we had kept having these serendipitous moments. I was just like, I'm so over it. I'm like, I'm going in. There's something here that I have to explore, and I have to know what this is about.
And Ryan is he's a genuine person. Like he's goofy and like but like he's passionately genuine. Like he is himself.
Yeah.
No matter what it is we're doing or talking about, like whatever he's. No, it's true though. You're really like,
thanks,
this is who I am, you know? And like, you're vulnerable in that way. I think that's something that I admired about him, is just that he allowed himself to be totally sincere and genuine and wasn't afraid to do that at all.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people don't know how to, I mean, it's a really hard thing, you know, and he's taught me a lot about that too.
It's a hard thing to cut loose in both directions. That is what's really interesting about you, Ryan, is you like, look at him now, right? You're very serious. You're so direct. Serious. You're completely right here with us. But in a second, you can go into something dancing else, or singing a song or laughing at some silly joke.
Some of the silly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the culture also, like, you know my brothers. So we grew up in a lot of real playful with each other. And I think that's a big piece about my relationship with Jordana is we make a lot of space for being really playful, silly, goofy, funny, laughing, jokes, letting it all out, letting it all out. And I think even early on in a relationship, I think I was a bit kind of serious.
Yeah, he was a little bit more serious.
I was way more heavy. I think actually heavy's the word. Because it's like
I want to have this conversation.
I was like, I want to process this. And I was like, can we process this? And she would be really light and like up here. And sometimes she'd meet me, and other times she's like, dude, like, chill out. And over the course of our relationship, I find that what's been really, really great is she's taught me to be lighter.
Yeah.
I've taught her to be heavier, but not heavy in like an uncomfortable way, like forcing a person into the deep end.
Authentic.
But it's like like knowing the right time to go, we need to be deep right now. We need to go and do this, but not getting all like all the time.
Like forcing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you're bringing that up because I was kind of conflict avoidant when I met Ryan. Like everything was like, I just wanted to be all good. And I didn't know how to engage in conversations with people or like with my partners that were difficult or potentially challenging.
Yeah.
And so he taught me a lot about how to do that.
What did you learn? How do you do that now?
In a really direct and like loving way. And I think for me, it's also about timing and like the kind of space that you set up for it. Like, hey, I want to check in with you. I want to have a conversation and we're going to do it. Is now a good time? Or like, where Ryan would be like, I want to talk about it this right now because it's 11:30 p.m. and then you're going to sleep. And I was like, no.
I'm like there'd be
because you're
times,
so tired.
There'd be times when literally we'd be talking about processing something, and she'd fall asleep. And I used to make that mean something, and I would make that mean.
And I was like, I'm actually exhausted.
And you're like, dude, you've been talking for like 2 hours. But that was 11 years ago. So or 10 years ago.
We've had to work on it. We've had to
figure that out.
How do you remember the moment that it shifted from your making it mean something to your being able to let those moments go?
We did. I mean, a
few times.
Yeah.
I think a few times.
Oh, you mean like
in terms of the softening or the kind of releasing of that expectation?
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely would attribute a few things. We did do some couples counseling.
Okay.
And learning more. I think here's a huge piece for me was, so there's a piece in relationships where like, okay, I'm doing something for the other person.
Yeah.
I have an expectation.
Of what you want.
Of what I want to receive in return.
Yeah.
Of what it looks like.
And what it looks like and how, how it should be. How the reciprocity of my gift should be regifted.
Yeah.
Versus the spirit of just giving it.
Yeah.
And the joy and love of expressing that part of my love that's just me expressing it.
And then to be able to see how your partner is giving, like how they choose to give may be different and may manifest itself in like different ways. That was something that is that what you're kind of getting to? Yeah.
Yeah, like I stopped expecting something from her. Straight up.
It's like the craziest, like it's such a simple thing, but it's like.
And because what would happen is like I would do something and expect some kind of immediate meeting of energy or recognition. And if I didn't get it, then I would resent her.
Yeah.
And then that would come out as passive aggressive behavior, or trying to talk at 11:30 at night about something or holding on to something. And then I changed more to realize that just because I want to fix something or talk about something in the moment that I want to talk about it or process it doesn't mean it's the right time or moment to discuss or process that piece.
And every expectation is a setup in that way.
Absolutely.
For frustration.
Absolutely.
And so the maturing was in letting go of some of the expectations, but also you do have a container for this relationship.
Yeah, and there should obviously you need to have like you have certain.
Yeah. There's expectations. There's expectations, like expectations around responsibility.
Yeah. What are the difference between the two kinds?
It is interesting. It's something that we've thought a lot of. I mean, I think. I don't know. It's like.
How does a person express the meeting? Like the energy or there's like a qualitative judgment that I used to have around the way in which your reciprocity was expressed back to me. So I would judge the gravity of that connection in which you were re-expressing back to me.
Ryan was hella judgy.
And just like, oh, that's not deep enough. That's not heavy enough.
Yeah.
That's not X enough.
He was experiencing intimacy in only a way that was like super intense.
Yeah.
Like it has to be like,
Right.
we have to be like looking in each other's eyes.
When we're
like,
speaking
talking
with each other.
And like doing like.
And everything has to be like this. We have to speak in whispers. I'm being dramatic, but just like, you know.
Well, I bet your quality of your voice did totally change though in those moments.
But I think it's just more of like, yeah, like there's expectations around like, you know, keeping a roof over our heads and like contributing to the home and doing.
But I think what you're saying here, maybe the word isn't expectation. I think it was just some shit that you were working through in terms of like, you know what I mean? Like in terms of relationships and like yourself and how you see yourself and judgments of yourself and how you project that onto other people and blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I had some of that too, but it's like.
Yeah, projections are heavy.
It's a different thing.
Well, when he was doing that, did you ever find yourself going, oh God, I don't think I can take this guy anymore. I think I need to leave this relationship. He's great, but I'm not so sure.
I never wanted to leave. Because I know his heart and I know him, like I know him.
Yeah.
But I was like, I need a break. And I would be like, all right, bye. Like I'm going to go and like work out or do like something, you know, or I would just be really firm with him and be like, get out, like leave, go to your, like, just stop, you know, we're going to take a T.O., big old T time out and then come back. And then when we would come back, it was so much better, like the type of conversation that we could have after taking space and really thinking, you know, I'm more of, I guess my process is more response. Like I'm going to think about how to respond to this. And I'm going to think about every angle instead of react and like get caught up in I do get caught up in my emotions, but when it comes to conflict or like arguments or disagreement, I tend to be more like, I'm going to just watch you freak out.
Or just think you're going to think about what your response is.
Yeah, and
that took me a while to
think a little
learn.
bit before I go into it.
I had a pattern of wanting to solve the problem in the moment. Yeah, and I judge that as kind of a male trait sometimes.
Okay.
Like if I want to fix it.
Yeah.
And it's
Where
something
like
I perceive something is broken, and I got to like get in there and do everything I can to make it right.
It's a construct of masculinity.
It is. But it's
within the paradigm of hegemonic masculinity.
But there was something huge about her boundary of like.
It's true, right?
It's so true.
But there was something powerful about her just saying, no, we're not having this conversation right now. You have to stay with your feelings, and you have to be in it. Because I'm not meeting you right now, because I'm not ready to.
And I'm not going to meet you in this way.
And I'm not going to meet you in this way, because you're hot. You're up here at 11, and it's like you're not coming back down.
Because we could go there.
Yeah, and it's just,
like,
it's just
we
a tit
could
for
go
tat.
there.
And we've had moments where it'd be like cat fights, but that's not communication.
Yeah, that's just
it's just
trauma
anger.
banging against trauma.
Right. So I think both of us have spent a lot of time thinking about trauma in general, like in our own lives, and thinking about family, and a lot of the work is work that we've done on ourselves. To be honest, in like 11 years, 12, almost 12 in June.
Yeah, I used to have a really hair trigger temper, where I'd go from as I'd go 0 to 60 from like serious to silly, I'd also go serious to like more serious, and to anger and rage. Yeah, and it'd be like target. Like rage, anger can be just an emotion.
Yeah.
But rage has a target. Yeah. Usually it's a projection.
Interesting.
Someone's doing something that triggers me, and it reminds me of something else. And
yeah.
So she's no longer Jordana. She's a mom, bad dad, bad brother.
I was like, projection transference.
Something like that.
I was like, it's happening.
Did you just make up that song?
Yeah.
Did you just make up the projection transference song?
It's called projection transference. Ha 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 ha.
So, but
projection transference. Ha 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 ha.
What are you doing right now?
It's a song called Okay.
Keep your day job. That's
not your best song ever.
Not your best song.
I don't want to discourage you.
It's like
but not your
it's like a
best
weird robotic
ever.
like opera. It's like ha 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 ha. It's like a weird.
That was a huge awareness for me, is seeing the impact of I think I think this is a huge thing for just men in general, is seeing the impact of like male aggression, male tendency to just violent energy, and the impacts on the person I love.
Yeah.
You know, she's sad, she shuts down. She doesn't, I mean, people, but I think specifically women just do not respond, no matter how much you want to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, and whatever self-righteous anger is coming out. There is no dialogue. There is no. It's like the quality of whatever I'm saying
means nothing.
Means absolutely nothing in the context of the way in which it's being said.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yep. Yes.
Mic drop.
That's mic drop.
So as you can hear, the thing about the skill that these two bring to the table is that it's not that they ignore their challenges and just, sing their way past their responsibilities. These two are deeply engaged in their work, and they're addressing their challenges head on. And yes, these two have been together for 12 years. That's a long time in some sense, and I don't know, maybe they've made it. It's easy to think that, hearing how happy they are. But of course, there's no such thing as making it. There's no point at which everything is just perfect and we live on easy street in our relationships. And what's more, there comes a time in all of our lives, probably more than one time, when each of us faces those moments of wondering whether we have any self-worth, whether our lives have been a waste. And in those moments we turn to our partners. And if these two haven't faced that yet, they will eventually, they know that. But when they do, they'll have over a decade-long habit of finding the hilarity and the absurdity in those kinds of challenges to fall back on. And if nothing else, that simple fact will make the whole crazy roller coaster absolutely worth riding. Now, before we go to our closing credits, I wanted to share this clip with you just because I love it. The background is that in another portion of the interview, Ryan and Jordana shared how their greatest current challenge is finances and budgeting. And so on a break, I asked them to improvise a short song about that. And here it is.
Bouger.
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 You ain't gonna get no play.
Bouger.
You gotta stick to a bouger.
No play. I don't wanna get paid. Bouger. Get no play.
No shopping at Target. Cause there ain't no bouger.
Bouger.
They're going to kill me for putting that on there, but I just couldn't resist. I've got one more clip for you after this, so if you you got to stick around. All right. Now, if you liked what you heard today, there are two things that you can do to support the show. The first, leave a review on iTunes. That's super helpful. And the second is become a subscriber. We would love your support. As a subscriber, you get bonus content like several of the giggly clips from this episode that you're not going to hear here, unedited interviews occasionally, early access to most of our episodes, and a community of other listeners. You can find links to that on our website at www.together.show. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. And hey, I'd love it if you followed us at together_show. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/togethershow. And you can always email me at host@together.guide. Yes, I know I need to update that email address, but whatever, host@together.guide. Now, the music on this episode was provided by Ryan and Jordana. These are the instrumental tracks from some of their songs that they sing. And I'm really grateful they provided it. I think it adds nice color. And here's a closing clip for you. See you guys next week.
No, so what I was doing was
It sounds like the horror music from Halloween.
No. I
it's not.
It would have to be in a minor. It would have to be whispers in a minor key to be the horror.
Which is the name of the album, by the way. Which was the follow-up to Songs in a Key of Life, but he actually shelved that one.
Together we're whispers in a minor key. Together we're whispers in a minor key.
oh my god, whispers in a minor key.
That's good.
What is the album cover?
That is the album cover.
What does it look like?
It's me with my hand over my mouth, looking in your ear, and you're looking at the camera, and you're like,
yeah, and it's a profile of you.
It's a profile of me, just like
in a minor key.
but a whisper.
In a minor key.
Yeah. Good. That was a belly chuckle for you, brother.
You guys elicit belly chuckles. That's your superpower.
Oh my God.